Everyone comes to Zootopia thinking they can be anything they want. Well, you can't. You can only be what you are. Sly Fox, dumb bunny.
I am not a dumb bunny.
Right.
Okay, so we have another one. I watched the beginning of this video a little bit because from the title when it dropped yesterday, I was not sure what he's going to talk about, but basically he is talking about the HYBE National Assembly hearing. What I talked about my video before this video. Check out, I'm going to put it here. And no hate comments, please. Like, those were my opinions, and in this video as well, you just solely gonna hear my opinions and not facts. And even if I am emotional about some topics, it's just my feelings. So we can talk about it in the comments, but peacefully and not fighting. So, which is a difficult task, I know, because we're talking about this particular fandom. But yeah, let's hear what Seoulite TV is thinking about this situation.
You guys, people really might be that stupid. I hate to use that phrase, but New Jeans Mama said it herself. The bunnies are brainless. I didn't even think we'd have to address the latest show with the bunny uncles over at the National Assembly, dragging in the B-Lift CEO and harassing him and twisting the truth to create a spectacle aimed at furthering their political ends, maybe a cookie coin transaction, and definitely working in Mini Jin's favor. Now, they used to call the presidential residence and office the Blue House when they occupied Cheongwade because of its blue roof, but I think we're going to have to give a new nickname to the National Assembly building as the Glass House.
Inside your own glass house.
It's a metaphor.
At the core of this is a statement and an assertion that is so egregious that you have to think it's true, because no rational person would be that manipulative and bold about it. But let me tell you, in the National Assembly, if it works, it works. And the biggest lie that the devil was able to really get invented that works so well and is taught across the Jezebel Institute of Treachery, the JIT, is the statement that nobody's that evil. So that is the best lie that the devil has ever invented, because it allows support for the devil to come from people who think they're being so magnanimous and generous and thinking the best of people. Think about it. If there is somebody you know is just manipulating the crap out of a situation in your own life, nobody sees it yet. The reason why it takes even longer for people to see the truth are all the Pollyannas who are trying to virtue hoard and say like, oh, well, nobody could be that evil. Nobody could be that crazy. Well, that is sort of what's going on with this National Assembly harassment and bullying of the B-Lift CEO, and he has a dual title, B-Lift CEO, HYBE COO, Kim Tae-ho. He was dragged into the National Assembly for the audit from the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism. So about once a year, there's generally an audit that all the government agencies do, but I always thought it was definitely more of an audit of...
Okay, so we're talking about an audit, not quote-unquote leak, because everyone is using in the titles of the articles the word leaked information, but it was found during the audit. Audit. That's a weird word. So yeah. So essentially, it was a legal thing to do. No one is leaked illegally information from Hype, essentially, right? Right?
Government related industries, or basically you have to be somewhat affiliated with the government or totally with the government. I don't know exactly why they're hauling in the Belift Lab CEO, but it's sort of like under the auspices that there's something legal that Belift is infringing upon, so that's why they want to do this question.
Oh, I read in my other video that I made with my personal opinions about the situation that Sajagi was found during the audit, or Hybe is said it themselves that they admitted to the Sajagi inside of Hybe, right? But other than that, the article that I read, it was not contains any details of the group or soloist or anyone who is accused of Sajagi. So maybe the National Assembly is wanna say that Belift was the one who used Sajagi with their artists. Maybe. We will see. I'm just analyzing the situation.
And so in this questioning, one of the attacks that they brought up was an internal document, which first of all, internal document, didn't they always say like, oh, like clutching their pearls, like how could you release the information from internal documents or internal conversations? You know, Mini Jin's the first one to say, like after she's blasted all of her internal messages, to say, how could you use these internal messages against me? Remember, from narcissists, every accusation is a confession. And so they used this document called the Weekly Music Industry Report. It's issued weekly to C-level executives at Hybe and all of the affiliate labels. It's a weekly report. It's an internal report. This is a report that happens all the time, and it includes what's going on the internet. What kind of trash talk are people typing on their keyboards as keyboard warriors that affect our artists? Essentially, what kind of hate is coming at our artists, and do we have to respond? So when you are monitoring the situation, and that's what the document was for, to monitor the hate comments that are coming at their artists from the internet and socials, where you have to monitor it because you're not going to knee-jerk respond to everything. So you monitor it and then you can gauge it, and it's a responsible way to manage a huge music conglomerate or any kind of industry these days. You got to monitor what people are saying about you online and then make a rational choice based on the monitoring of the situation.
I'm sorry, I'm looking that way because I just saw that TXT's Over the Moon teaser one is dropped like 15 minutes ago, so I should watch that as well. I'm sorry if I'm not engaging too much with this video. Honestly, I talked about this, I read about this situation. I don't think that I will be provided with new information for me, so right now, but we're watching, because from the political side and the National Assembly side of information, the one that I didn't get. So
whether it's actually something that you need to address to protect your artists. All of this stuff is supposed to be good. All of this stuff is supposed to be good management practices. And yet, how did these politicians reverse this and try to twist it to their advantage? They said, this document says crap about your own artist. How could you call your artist blah, 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 blah? I mean, some of it had to do with physical appearances and whether they look like they've done too much plastic surgery, you know, like stuff that people on the internet, especially haters, say about celebrities. But they actually boldly said, like, why are you guys saying this about the artists? Or also try to imply that these are statements by the executives or people within Hybe themselves about their own artists, which is completely the opposite. And most people would think that they can't be that bold. Like, you can't twist the truth that much. Oh yes, honey, yes. They are twisting it into knots that not even Sakura and her knitting skills can untangle, okay? So they kept railing.
Okay, this is interesting. I totally misunderstand this conversation right now because I was in the mindset of, okay, even if Hype leaked some, this is this is the information that I was given when I was doing my other video about this situation. When we get to know about the documents and how allegedly how high executives are talked about other artists, but eventually they didn't even talk shit. I mean, I talked about this. I'm gonna once again put it here, my video. Please watch it because essentially I talked about the same as Seoulite TV said right now. Like, even if you quote unquote leaked, but it was part of the audit, your information about stuff like this, it's still corporate information. So, I mean, if you're interested in my thoughts, please check out my video because I go about in this topic a little bit further deep.
The CEO of Belift Lab on this, and I think he was shocked. And most CEOs, when they come in for questioning like this, they're really shocked because they're not used to people like these politicians. And if you look behind the Belift Lab CEO, the faces of all those other guys, I don't know if there are other CEOs that were called in, they're waiting for their execution, session, or who they were or they're affiliated, but they did not seem pleased either. Their faces, I think, were shocked at like the behavior, the outright egregious behavior of this one assembly member in particular. We're going to call him Mr. Min. It's a little bit ironic that he shares the same last name as Minnie Jin. I don't know if there's a relation or not, but not all Korean men, and even, if they're like executives or if they're people in power, not all of them are bad people. And you can see on the faces, they were looking at this guy like, what the heck? Now, the National Assembly politicians, not all of them, but a lot of them, they haven't lived in the real world for such a long time, and their status as a National Assembly politician gives them a carte blanche and a free pass for a lot of behavior that other people can't get away with, and they become used to it. And you can see on the faces of these other men, they're just like, oh, heck no, or disgust, or that one over there was looking like, you know what? I'm gonna beat him up myself. Because this kind of behavior was so egregious.
I would be really interested about the future of these assemblymen because as of right now, they are getting a lot of media attention, and I think since Seoul they didn't get this type of attention, maybe when Itaewon happened, but not in this international attention that they are getting. It was like 10 years ago, and a lot of things changed since the past decade. So I don't think that they should be this comfortable in their seats right now after this whole situation, because it was not a girl group member who was at the stand in front of them, but a high position CEO, and in a position of CEOs and stuff like that, and executives who will be angry after this humiliation eventually.
And an abuse of power. It really starts to then take Korea back to the dictatorship days or fascist days or oligarchical days. Like, it really starts to blend the line of how far along, it's Korea go. It's not a straight path. There's a lot of ups and downs. And in this glass house, oh, there are a lot of rocks being thrown, and people don't even care if the window panes get cracked. Now, Hybe, while this was going on, was so upset, and I'm glad that they issued a public statement saying that, like, this is completely out of line. These are a compilation of online comments for monitoring purposes. We're going to take action against the leak, like wherever it came from. Then later on...
Okay, I am confusion. So this was leaked information, but the National Assembly did an audit, and they did it annually. Like, they did this, do this all the time, this audit, like monthly or annually. Got it. Okay. So this quote unquote mistreatment or bad mouthing was a leak. Okay.
These politicians, instead of apologizing for their mistake and their smearing Hybe and the executives and the purpose of this document, doubled down on their position and blamed Hybe for issuing a statement during a National Assembly audit, as if that's so bad. What happened to freedom of speech? As if it was so offensive to us that you would bring this up while this is going on. Manufacturing these points. Now, Hybe, again, I think they're trying to take it demure, mindful, a lot more demure and mindful than I would have ever done, because it sort of makes them look a little bit guilty, and you have to really trust that time eventually will reveal the truth. But honey, you can't always depend on time. You can't.
Yeah, and I would like to address the fact that I am not standing beside any corporation, any big label, like with my comments and my opinions. As I said the beginning of this video, this segment of informations and the reaction I give to them is my feelings, my opinions, not fact. But as a civilian and a human being with a conscious mind, you are not going to give the 100% benefit of something so big as a multi-million-dollar company. Like, you never do this, because you don't know what is going on behind the scenes 100% all the time, and how they are really treating other employees, and in this situation other artists that they are working with, and outside of the business, how they are interconnected with other international labels and artists. So I'm just saying, like, whatever the case is, and right now I am not giving the benefit 100% to Hybe, but in the light of this situation, I would say as of right now that I think Hybe was accused right now, or was accused at the National Assembly hearing, and a lot of politicians around the world is playing their roles really too much as of right now. Like, they are giving their best acting skills of their lives, their best acting. So yeah, I know, I don't have a doubt that they are playing their cards and their position too much in this situation. And if I would be a executive or CEO that has nothing to do with these allegations and they are just trying to put dirt on my name, I would be behaving the same as Hype. Like, I would do the absolute most to clear my name. And if that means that I am the wrong person to give a statement or something like that, then okay, but still I am still in the right in this scenario if I know I didn't do anything wrong. But of course you have to play your cards as well, because as Seoulite TV said right now, you can't rely on your truth only. Like, never. Especially right now in the age of internet and online life and stuff like that. So
Can't always depend on the public finding out the truth eventually to a point where it matters to your own well-being. While there's the wait for the truth to come out, there's a lot of stuff that can be stolen and snatched up. And we've already seen that with Mini Jin's strategy that is already documented, that she wanted to try to move quickly while BTS is in military service so that she can.
well, boo-hoo, 2 members are already out and they will not let anything more worse happen. I don't think so.
Make her thing done, signed, stamped, approved of a steal, and then if the truth comes out, oh, who cares? It could be just a misunderstanding. There's a lot of treachery and a lot of hurt, and you can be knocked out of the game while you're waiting for the truth to eventually come out. And so I think Hive needs to take a little bit more of an aggressive stance, because yes, eventually the truth will win out. And yes, eventually the public will.
Yeah, but this is also a really, really thin line, in my opinion. Like, you have to find the silver lining in this situation as well. Like, you have to play really nicely, really demure. Like, if Hybe is being too aggressive, like, that would look like in the international stage as a aggressive company that is no different to, for example, a American owned company whose are only care about money and not their employees. And if they are not pretending, like they are not protecting their thing, their company, their artist, then they are looking like they don't care about anything. So, and they will be called a sort of like a weak entity in the business. And unfortunately, from the big four, of course, they have the least amount of power in the South Korean entertainment business and media right now. So yeah, they should be a little bit more aggressive in their on their stand, where they are standing and what they are saying eventually, that they are not gonna be attacked. But yeah, it's a really, really tricky situation.
No, or the ones that don't even know or don't even realize at the time, they will eventually win out. And so on the whole, we like to say, do not underestimate the public, because, don't disparage the public, because the public is smarter than you think. However, there are enough dumb, brainless people in the public for this con to be fueled, and the smart ones, you can divert their attention away while you finish hatching your plan. And then afterwards, if everybody sees the light, it might be too late. So this move was entirely hypocritical, entirely twisting the truth, and I'm actually shocked at how easily this type of lie could come out of a National Assembly member during a public audit.
I mean, are we surprised? Like, please, we are talking about the bunny uncles right now. So I can just laugh at this situation sadly laughing, of course, not a funny way, but at this moment, what you can do, like, what are you going to do if the bunny uncles are waiting for their cookies? Then they are not going to play nicely and fairly, whether if it's National Assembly, whether if it's the jury. So I don't know, even if we're talking about the police station,
where they're supposed to have some credibility for the truth. And you know what happens when you start throwing rocks in a glass house when you on the Shade Report? Yeah, we're going to look into you, Mr. Min. So we're only going to focus on one politician, because I cannot handle delving into the antics of more than one bunny uncle at a time. And he was the most egregious. And does he have a history of showing a willingness to twist the truth? Oh, yes, he does, Mr. Min. Mr. Min, what's your actual name? Min Hyung Pae. So he's supposed to be, the honorable, the National Assembly member, Min Hyung Bae. But we're just calling him Min Shi, okay? Yeah. Like, 민님도 아니고, Min Shi. Min Hyung Bae Shi. Because he has a potty mouth of his own. He himself is an online hater that terrorizes other politicians' Facebook's posts. So if anything is also true at the same time, you better believe those politicians are keeping tabs on one another, because they go to the media and say, guess what this politician said about me on my Facebook page? Well, what did Mr. Min say on a rival politician's Facebook page?
I mean, this sounds familiar. I mean, not in my country or in my continent, but in America, we heard a few politicians that are more than likely to leave some comments under some politicians posts. I'm not going to say much, but if you watch Josh Johnson, the comedian, I really enjoy his content and his humor. Right now, he is my favorite comedian, like, internationally. Because I have a few comedians that I really enjoy in Hungary as well. But he is talking about a few people that are moving in these type of circles in media, and they are not afraid of backlash or anything like that, because everyone is going to, like, say that they are old people, they are going to talk about shit, and they don't even understand the online platforms and stuff like that. But honestly, they should have been called out from a long time ago for their comments and how they are, I guess, they are bring topics on different sides of the internet when the topics are not relevant somewhere. Like I saw myself, I saw a lot of comments that was out of place. That was not even in the conversation to begin with. But
And if he wasn't even first to coin the phrase, he just kind of like followed, you know, he's kind of like a pick-me kind of politician, I guess. And there was a time when they were insulting each other. Yeah, these politicians insulting each other on their own Facebook pages. Of course, people are going to be monitoring each other. So you can understand how Hive monitors hate. But he forgets that he is somebody who made a comment that was supposed to be sort of cryptic and smart. GSGG, and he added a D. I don't know what the D is, but GSGG. What the heck is GSGG? And is that really bad? Well, the online sleuths in Korea, they said that that is a way for the politicians to leave a bullying comment that says 개새끼. Remember 개새끼, or I don't know if we went over this because there's been so many foul language and curse words that we've learned because of Mini Jin. And we didn't learn actually 개새끼. This is actually a good teacher.
it's something about dogs, right? It's a abbreviation or a mix of words. Don't quote me.
Moment. We did hear Mini Jin actually use the more advanced and newer version of this word. This is the OG word. Keseki means basically like a son of a SOB. So seki is a word for a baby and ke is dog. So like dog's baby. So you're just trying to call somebody an SOB. She used the word kejoshi, which is essentially being, if you're gonna be sexist against men, that's a way to say like, oh, like kind of like an old man, just a dog. And so keseki is actually the original kind of curse, and it's GSGG. And I was like, wait a minute, what is the extra G for? Oh, it's because ke, G, se, s, ki, because it's a double kyok for keseki.
I didn't know that I came for a Korean language class, but I appreciate it.
So that's why you need two G's, and that's basically keseki. And so they thought that, or they were trying to lie and kind of massage this and say something like that a government needs to service the general public or something. Like they made up excuses when they were called out on this, and they even deleted some of these comments before. But I'm still wondering what the extra D is, because he went a little bit further. He did, keseki D. So I don't know, maybe that means dog. Like maybe he's trying to be bilingual in this shade, you keseki dog. Maybe that's
Very
what the D is for, but Mr. Min will have to answer
Mr.
for that.
International.
Now, yes, that is one instance where he was an online hater himself in the most crude way possible against other politicians, but it just doesn't stop there, okay? Now, he is one of the poster child for political trickery, treachery, and manipulating the system to force through a non-democratic process. Now, what he was accused of a few years ago was basically committing this horrible move to enact a legislation that was deadlocked. So when the rival party, so he's on the Democratic side of the Korea's version of Democrats, and there was a stall conflict on a particular bill that has to do with prosecution's authority to investigate. So he was on the side of let's strip the prosecution of their power to investigate. And this bill was stalled in the National Assembly. And apparently in that sort of situation, you can form a committee of 6 members. And this committee is supposed to have about 3 months to work it out, come to a negotiation to get the bill into a state where then it could get passed. It's supposed to be 3 members from the ruling party and 3 members from the opposition party. But this is where already the system is rigged, because 3 members of the ruling party, which he was in at the time, and this is when the Democrats had the majority, so he was on the side of the 3. Now, the 3 others, it sounds like, oh, well, if it's just the, major opposition party, then it's just going to be deadlocked anyway, right? Not the case, because the 3 can actually come from any other opposition party. And in Korea, the way that it really differs markedly from the United States in terms of congressional politics is that there's a lot more than 2 political parties. Yes, there's always the 2 major political parties, but there's a lot more 3rd, 4th, 5th, like other parties there.
Yeah, as of right now, we have the same situation here in my country. I mean, we have a certain type of, like, the 2 parties, like conservatives and the Democrats, but inside of that bubbles, two parties, 2 oppositions, we have other parties that are, I mean, one of them just a few years old, I think 3 years old. And the funny thing is that the face of that party is the man who owned the building of my university while I was learning there. Yeah. And he also has a weird background. He started his career from profiting from adult sites. It was so funny. We had a university day when other students who were already graduates, they made some speeches and talked to us about their experiences after graduating and stuff like that. And he also came, and he basically never came to our school to give us a speech, and that was one of the first times. And I'm not kidding, our school looked like if America, if a president came for a school to give a speech. Like, everywhere you looked, you have seen a man in a black suit and this little ear monitor in their ears and stuff like that, like everywhere. And there was a lot of students, so I don't know how they find the little ways to move, but it was hilarious. Like, if he was that important person, he was not that important of a person, but yeah, it was weird.
And so they don't have to necessarily come from the main, we'll just call them like the main conservative party. This committee can be 3 ruling party, and then what he did, this Mr. Min, was say that, oh, I'm not part of the ruling party anymore. I'm not gonna be a Democrat anymore, essentially. He deregistered himself, and then he became an independent, and then he said, I'm going to be one of the opposition members of the 3. So then basically that means, because everybody saw this, that he was scamming the system, and he just wanted to get onto this committee, and then now it's 4 against 2. So there's going to be 3 official Democrats, him as an independent, pretending he's on the opposition side, but he's actually on this team still, and then it's get 4 against 2, and then you can go through a non-democratic process and force through legislation. And then how do we know this for sure? Because after all this happened, and if you look at him now, he's part of the Democratic Party again. What happened to him? I thought you were going to be independent. Absolutely not. So he got a lot of criticism for being so bold about his trickery. And just recently, his own party. So this guy's a bunch of drama. Maybe even, I can see how he aligns to the cookiedom and, maybe even being a bunny uncle. His own party had threw him this week or last week into the ethics committee because he was playing golf while he was supposed to be at work doing these investigations. So this dude is hated by his own party, being called out for going out to golf. I don't know what kind of drama he's trying to stir up. And so in lieu of all of that, he's trying to go after Hybe. He's trying to go after B-Lift. He's trying to paint Hybe and B-Lift as documenting, as saying, like as if Hybe is saying crap about their own artists, when from the document, like you can't lie about the document because the document is very black and white. It is a compilation of the hate messages that are out there, and any responsible company is going to document hate messages against them, just as they do in the National Assembly, documenting what other politicians are saying crap about you. So what? So if we go into his office and then we see his treasure trove of all the stuff that people have been saying against him, what? He's going to be accused. He has to accuse himself then of writing stuff against himself. Like maybe he is a self-hater. And then maybe we have to, probably keep an eye on him and see if he hates himself that much with all of these documented hate messages against him. Well, what are we going to do? Hybe is completely within its rights to monitor the internet to see what kind of
That's the same thing that I was talking about my video once again here. But yeah, I don't see any problem with monitoring the internet and what the people are talk about, especially if it's about you.
negative comments people are making about their artists so that they can take the proper action at the proper time to protect their artists. And here he goes and his colleagues go saying like, oh, this kind of document violates your code of conduct, doesn't it? Like trying to pick up off of the attack that they were thwarted in by the Adore CEO in terms of like they thought that they were going to be able to take Hybe's code of conduct and use it against them. And here they go again, trying again. The winter is coming up. If they throw way too many stones in their glass house, that's going to be one cold winter at the National Assembly. They better watch out. So I didn't even think we had to talk about this because it's so obvious how twisted this situation is. But if you're that bold about it, and if you get enough coordination with media people that you paid off, then you can be bold in making these sort of statements and then see if it sticks on the wall. And that's what they're trying to do. And if people fall for it, then that is just a sad state of people's critical thinking skills. But on the other hand, it does explain why Minijin wouldn't give up, why Minijin would not spend a lot of this money to manipulate public opinion, because it actually works. It can't work forever, but it might work long enough for you to finish your scam and get it sealed and approved, even with government help and authority. And that's the scary part of people like this, people who operate in the world with a degree from the Jezebel Institute of Treachery, that they are going to destroy all of the hard work that other people have made, steal it for themselves, and then if you just look at what happens after they grab whatever they wanted to grab, within a few years, it's just crumbled and decayed. So this is a very important time to nip it in the bud. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, what do you think? Did you see this drama? And actually, if you look at the document, well, it's just a cut and paste of what's out there on the internet. Put your comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you again next time. Bye.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything else to say about this situation. I hope we can put this in the past right now and focus on real problems in the K-pop world, especially with the funeral rites, with the flowers in front of the entertainment industries, buildings and stuff like that. And why are we kicking out idols from groups with basically no reason at all, besides the reason that is the one reason that is excites the industry is their domestic general public, but who is not even the audience that they are want to conquer, but whatever. Okay, guys, as Seoulite TV said, please share your thoughts in my comment section as well, and whether if you agree with me. I mean, I am a sort of lukewarm territory in terms of my takes on this, because as I've said, I trying to be a little bit more on the objective side of thinking. So yeah,